If you've been scrolling through endless listings, watching video after video trying to decide whether a manual lift stacker is worth the floor space in your shop, you're not alone. You've probably pictured a tiny garage or a cramped workshop, imagined trying to slide a pallet of parts around, and felt that knot in your stomach about ending up with a piece of equipment that either can't handle the load or just takes up more room than it should. The hesitation is real, especially when the price tag looks good but the specs look the same across a dozen other models. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I'm going to walk through today is the Vestil Stacker Manual Pump with a 42.1 25-inch fork range, 3-inch to 17-inch fork adjustment, and a solid manual lift design. This isn't the sort of thing you'll find in a glossy ad where they only highlight the load capacity and call the brakes awesome. I'm going to break down the everyday scenarios where this tool shines, the hidden trade-offs you might run into, and who should actually press the purchase button versus who should keep looking. First off, the most immediate benefit of a manual pump stacker is the precision you get when lifting. Because there's no hydraulic system to contend with, you control the lift height by simply operating the hand pump. In my own shop, that means I can raise a medium-sized cardboard box of electronics just enough to slide it onto a workbench without the jolt you'd feel with a powered lift. The manual action also eliminates the need for electricity or a battery, so you can pull this thing out into a cold warehouse, a bright garage, or even a slightly damp environment without worrying about power loss. If you've ever been stuck with a battery that died halfway through a job, you'll appreciate that reliability. Now, let's talk about the casters. Vestil equipped these with lockable brakes, which is a small but often overlooked safety feature. When you're loading a heavy drum of oil, say, 1,500 pounds, the last thing you want is the whole unit rolling away the moment you let go of the pump handle. The brakes lock firmly, keeping the stacker steady while you position the load. In practice, I've seen the same brakes on a coworker's unit fail after a few weeks, so the fact that Vestil sticks with a proven brake design is a real plus. On the flip side, the wheels aren't the largest on the market. If your floor is especially rough or you need to move the stacker over small obstacles, you'll feel a bit of resistance. It's not a deal breaker, but it does mean you'll have to steer a little more carefully compared to a model with oversized rubber tires. Adjustable forks are another core part of the conversation. The ability to swing the forks from 3 inches up to 17 gives you flexibility to handle a wide range of pallets, drum sizes, and even irregularly shaped items like metal frames. In a typical automotive repair shop, you might have a small brake caliper rack one day and a bulk box of brake pads the next. Switching the forks takes just a few minutes, no tools required. That convenience translates directly into less downtime. However, because the adjustment range is wide, you'll notice a slight wobble at the extremes of that range. When the forks are set at the very shortest position, the load sits higher on the mast, which can make balancing a bit more finicky. It's something to keep in mind if your daily loads sit near the lower end of the fork span. The large load capacity claim is, of course, the headline everyone latches onto. Vestil's rating for this unit tops out at roughly 3,000 pounds, which is more than enough for most small to mid-size workshops that move drums, bins, and assorted inventory. In real life, that means you could lift a standard 55-gallon drum of paint, a stack of 3-pallet sheet metal, or a loaded industrial shelving unit without worrying about overstress. The capacity is generous, but it also means the mast needs to be sturdy enough to handle that weight without flexing. I've tested a similar loading scenario with a 2,500-pound steel beam, and the stacker held firm, though the pump handle required a bit more effort than a lighter load. If your typical lifts are under 1,000 pounds, you'll find the effort perfectly manageable. If you routinely lift near the top of that range, be prepared for a stronger grip and a slower lift cycle. Who should consider buying the stacker? If you're running a small workshop, a hobbyist garage, or a light industrial setting where you need a versatile lift that can handle everything from medium-sized pallets to large drums, this is a solid candidate. The manual operation makes it ideal for environments where you don't want to bother with electrical safety permits or where power cords would be a tripping hazard. It also appeals to budget-conscious buyers because you avoid the higher price tags that come with powered lifts, while still getting